Hello and welcome everyone. Today we'll be going over the software for Virpil, and I'll show you how to do a few things that I learned how to do through a lot of research and trial and error. Going into the software and enabling the advanced mode can feel a bit daunting to the average user out there. But after taking time to learn how to fully configure things, I can see how this software is extremely customizable for many different situations. It's pretty impressive the things the software will allow you to do. I went to Virpil's site and read over their PDF on the software when I initially got my CM3 throttle, and kind of found myself rather confused about some things. So rather than sit there and read, I decided to fiddle with it and figure things out largely on my own. So here's the current software guide on setting it up. The intimidating thing that I pulled up when I was trying to learn initially was the technical overview. And this will go into details exactly how you'll do certain things with the buttons that you have. So after reading this long list of information, there was some things that I was able to take away from it with the switches, for example, which I'll go into the switches and also how you can configure, and how also you can configure your flaps axis as a three-way button, and it will continue to work as an axis as well. So let's go ahead and open up the software real quick. Okay, so here's the software. So to start, we'll go in and configure the flaps lever to work as a three-way switch. Before you begin, of course, you'll want to make sure that you select your throttle up here in the list and load. I didn't have to do that because mine started up that way. I did configure my throttle to work as an access to button so that I can shut off or start the engines by passing the detent. If you guys want to see that, I'll be happy to post a video about that. It'll be pretty simple for me to do. It's pretty self-explanatory, but you'll need to figure out a few things with your throttle in particular first. So we'll go into the axis for the flaps lever, which is this one right here. It should be RZ by default. We'll double click on that and we'll open this section here. So in order to do this, you'll need to be in the Pro version, not the Lite version. Otherwise, you may not be able to get into the screen, and you may only see basic buttons. So make sure that you enable the Pro version. In this axis, you'll just simply click the axis to button to predefined ranges. So you can't change these because I'm currently using the throttle as a specified percentage when you pass the detent to either idle or shut off the engines. You'll click the 0 to 20 mark, the 41 to 60% mark, and the 81 to 100% mark. And each percentage range is going to be a button. Now, technically speaking, you can configure this as a 5-way switch, so that in the event that you have an aircraft that has 5 different flap settings, I don't know which type of plane that you would have that has that in DCS specifically, but maybe there's an aircraft that I'm not aware of. So for something like the F-18, for example, we'll switch it to 0 to 20, 41 to 60, and 41 to 100. And that will allow for the flaps lever to work as an axis to button. Then you'll just go ahead and save. I'm not going to save because I've already saved. Then we'll go into buttons next. So after you've configured the axes to buttons for the flaps lever, you'll go into whatever open slot you have here as well. After everything else that you've configured, doesn't matter, just want to make sure that it's an open slot. I'll go ahead and click on this one. And then we're going to find which physical buttons are being activated as we move our flaps lever. Keep in mind there are dead zones. So if you've got your flaps axis between, 21% and 40%, it won't actually register as a button, but that's fine. Not a big deal. It'll still activate the buttons as you pass those percentages. So I've got 73, 74, and 75 that have been configured as physical buttons. Now what I'll do is at the very bottom, so I'll pull the flaps all the way down. I'm going to go ahead and set this one to be 73. Then I'm going to configure the next one as button 74. That's wrong. 74. And then I'm going to configure the last one as 75 because they're all in order, 73, 74, and 75. And now in the software, we can see each of them be activated. This is my original profile that I created, and here's the new one. I'm showing you guys to make sure that you can see it works. So now I'll explain how to configure your toggle switches to work both directions, since they only work one direction by default. So we'll go down here and we'll flip a switch real quick. I'm going to go ahead and flip the bottom T4 switch, which, as you can see right here, so this one is on, which is in the down position. And for this button in particular in the down position is super simple. All you need to do is double click on the button, set the mode to toggle on, and that's it. You don't have to do anything else for that one specifically. The other switch is not going to be bound by default in your profile. So you will need to go down to an empty slot down here. You'll type the logical name that you want it to be. It doesn't have to be anything specific. It could be the number after. So then what you'll need to do is when you go down here to whatever free space that you have, you'll flip the switch up, and whatever's red in this section right here, it may be in a different section. That's fine. But if it turns red when you switch it, that is your physical button on the actual throttle. So you'll need to configure it to be that button specifically. So I'll go ahead and show you here how to do it. Button 72, doesn't matter, doesn't have physical button currently. So we'll type in 44. We'll go ahead and toggle on and save. So that's all that you need to do. You just need to set them both as toggle on, find an open slot in here and configure it to the other switch. So 43 is the down position for mine. The up position is 44. Now, if it's different in your profile, then you'll just want to take note of that. But you'll configure it to use the physical button when it's in the up position. The down position is the first one that you'll configure, and then the up position is the second one that will require you to bind a logical button to that physical button and then set the mode on. And that's all you need to do. I'm going to go ahead and clear mine and save. After you do all this, what you'll need to do is click on Save VPC Device. It'll go through a save, and then it will load, or should load, automatically by itself. All right, and that's it. That's all you need to do to configure your Virpil throttle to work the way that I've set it up. Obviously, you may find other ideas that you'll have to set up for your other aircraft that you might fly, whether that be the Viper or whether that be the Tomcat, however you want it to work. So if you guys have any more videos that you would like to see in future videos, go ahead and leave them in the comments below. Don't forget to smack that like button and subscribe and hit the bell notification so that you don't miss out on any future videos. As always, fly safe, pilots, and I will see you in the next video. Havoc out.